it's not that you as an individual, you need to do things for people to see
Right.
so that they can really unleash your potential. They really know your potential. If you just start thinking that, okay, I have this potential, someone should come and talk to me.
Right. Right.
No, that's not going to happen. You have to, come out of your comfort zone, do those things, and really show to you, the world, your potential.
Yeah.
And selfless approach. That is what I would, and that is what worked for me. I mean, I was not eyeing for something, a title or a com
Yep.
or anything. I just helped selflessly. So that is also very, very important. You don't do things in
Got it locked to another edition of the Audacious Living Podcast, hands down the most audacious podcast the internet has to offer. And it's all, as always, it's an absolute pleasure. What your first leadership experience was, what that was, and the reason why I ask is, I know for myself, the very first time I was in the leadership role, I didn't know I was in one until I got there. Right? Yeah. I didn't understand it fully, and leadership, as you know, it's a huge topic, and it encompasses so much, and it really takes some time to understand it. And part of the understanding is your role, and then how that impacts others. So I'm just curious, what your origin story in leadership look like.
Yeah, so it's so funny. When it happened, I was not knowing that, okay, I'm taking charge as a leader. And it was in, I would say, around fourth grade or fifth grade, when we were playing games, inter-class games. So we used to have a team, and there was no one who was leading it. Right. And we were not knowing who we should make as a captain. And it was more like a round robin. And then as we progress, we realized that some of us are really good at it. And we started by default taking that ownership of guiding people. And that's where, the team made me a captain of one of the sports. And that's where I realized that, oh, this is what leadership. And at my home, my dad has been leader for long, so I've been seeing him. Right. So I was very fortunate to observe him and get to know things very close at home.
Right. I can remember. I was probably around that age as well. And I was at I was going to a day camp. Right. I was probably, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old. I was at this day camp, and there were younger kids in the group as well. And there was a little young, and I forget the young man's name, but for whatever reason, he gravitated to me, and he always wanted to hold my hand as we went on these different excursions. And I remember one of the camp counselors saying to me, "Oh, you are going to be a great leader one day." And I had no idea what she was talking about. I felt like I was babysitting, right? I didn't feel like I was doing anything in the leadership sphere. But and it wasn't until several years later, when you reflect back, you start to understand better. And really, when we talk about leadership or what encompasses leadership, is really our ability to impact others and how we can impact others. So I wonder, bearing that, I wonder if you have, and I know everyone's definition isn't the exact same per se, because depending on their experiences with it. I wonder what your definition of leadership looks like.
So before I answer that, I just wanted to share one more thing. The legacy is coming back at my home. My daughter is a fourth grader right now, and she has some kindergartners who are her followers. And what she does is, out of 5 days in a week, 2 days she works or she volunteers at cafeteria, helping the kindergartners, opening their lunch boxes, or helping them with the spoons. So it's the legacy is coming back. So I also started, since you asked that question. Yes. When I started, though, it's the fourth, fifth grader, and that is where she is.
Right.
For leadership, I would say you don't become leadership. For me, is not a title. Leadership is a trait. Leadership for me is a personality.
Yes.
And it is the people who makes you a leader. It is not who you make. You make people leader. People makes you a leader.
Right.
And I have learned this when I started my professional journey, Audley. I joined as an entry-level talent for an organization in India, and I was responsible for managing the human resources team for 100 of our employees.
Okay.
And it's just happened that people started coming to me and asking for help, asking for advice. And as an HR, they come to me, but then it was not HR related. It was more their professional related. It was more their advice for how they can work well within the team.
Yes.
So I feel that as a leader, you have to have that selfless approach. You should not be thinking that if I help him, what am I going to get in return?
Right.
It's that selfless. And this is something I have learned from my father. He has never worked for any name, fame. He just did his work, went above and beyond to the call of duty. And that's the trait I'm very fortunate that I have from him.
Yes.
And that's what I'm teaching my kids. So for me, that is what leadership, selfless approach.
Yeah.
Whatever you can, however you can, go and help.
I love the inclusiveness of the word selfless, only because it does speak to the fact that the leadership is about impact and how you impact others, and the idea. And I think one of the terms, servant leadership, we hear that a lot too, right? Where you're putting the needs of others first. You care about others' well-beings first. What matters to them, takes precedent. These are these things are a shift, right? Because once upon a time in the leadership sphere, you weren't talking about people's happiness or what love had to do with leadership. These things weren't included, but we've seen a shift, which I think is a shift in the right direction, because that's truly sort of what leadership is. And so I wonder if you sort of when we talk about sort of when you can have an impact on someone because you care about them, right? And what that does from a productivity standpoint. Like if you're working for a company and the company cares for you, you want to do more, you want to contribute more, you want to care about what the organization is going. I wonder if you sort of could talk about that, because I think there's some significance there.
Absolutely. So as a leader, we should not be waiting for opportunities to come on our lap. We should be reading those opportunities and grabbing those opportunities and find a way to help others. For me, in my corporate world, I was doing one role as a leader for 7 individuals. I realized as I was doing it, my leader, he was struggling a lot to make things happen. He was falling short of hours. He was falling short of manpower. And I realized that, man, if I work a little extra, maybe come an hour early or go an hour late, can contribute to this individual.
Yep.
So I started helping him without him asking me for help. I realized that, okay, he needs help. So as simple as, interviewing candidates. Okay. So the first level interview. So I was able to do that first level interview for him so that, he can get shortlisted candidates.
Right.
Making sure that administration. So we used to offer tea and snacks to our employees. So talking to that vendor, making sure that the right amount of stuff is coming. So I started taking those opportunities, and what it helped me, Audley, is it gave me a jump in my career. So within 1 year, my manager realized that what work Rahul is doing is too short for him. He is capable of doing much more. So he took me out from that role and positioned me in a different leadership role, where I was not just leading a team, I was leading an operation, an India operation for 200 people. So it just helped me. So it was not that he asked me, I went, and honestly, it was a selfless approach.
Right.
I never asked him that, okay, how much will be my commission? How much will be my salary if I'm coming early or going late?
Right.
No, that was not ever the intention. The intention was to help. And that is what my leader saw in me and probably gave me the opportunity to help him. And that leader today is a friend of mine. He is no more my manager. He's a family. We are bonded for life.
I love that story. And well, as part, especially the latter part where, that became a friendship and a connection. But the idea of a leader looking at someone and seeing the potential, because that's really what you're telling it. You're illustrating a story of potential. Someone saw something in you that and wanted to bring that out, dust it off, shine it off, and make it brighter so they can elevate you into a better situation. And when you talk about look, I can't think of a better way to make someone feel better about themselves and recognize their potential. Like just seeing them, because what you're doing, you're seeing them for who they are, you're recognizing their greatness, recognizing their strengths, and you're putting them in a position. And so that's what I'm hearing from you in that illustration, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. I would add here is, if I would have not done that, going extra mile, he would have not seen that potential. Yeah. So it's not that you as an individual, you need to do things for people to see.
Right.
So that they can really unleash your potential. They really know your potential. If you just start thinking that, okay, I have this potential, someone should come and talk to me.
Right.
No, that's not going to happen. You have to, come out of your comfort zone, do those things, and really show to the world your potential. Yeah. And selfless approach. That is what I would, and that is what worked for me. I mean, I was not eyeing for something, a title or a com or anything. I just helped selflessly. So that is also very, very important. You don't do things in exchange of anything.
I wonder if you can throw out a few other things that leaders can do that can have tremendous impact on the people that they lead, their followers.
So one of the things that I have learned and I have doing it is giving empowerment to people. Many a times leaders they become little scared, may not be the right word, but they feel that if their team members do a better job, they will take over your position. And I have noticed that because of that fear, they refrain for sharing the knowledge, sharing the information. And my philosophy is, if I have to hire a team member, I want to hire someone who is smarter than me.
Yes.
So that, they can, because when they are doing good, automatically I as a leader is also doing good. So that is one thing, empowering people. You empower people. Number two, it's about the self-care, that you do it for yourself and you make sure your people are doing. I'm very, very critical about, when my people are spending long hours, or when they are spending time over the weekend for any project.
Yes.
To make sure that they get that cushion, and I make sure that they are they're taking care of themselves. So that extra care about it. And the third and most important is the family touch. It is not that one person who's working in front of you. It is the village that is behind him, who is supporting him, his neighbors, his friends, his spouse, parents, siblings. They all are supporting that person, because of which he or she is able to give that extra mile or give that power to you and your organization. So help family, make sure that they are recognized and they are applauded for what they have been doing.
I particularly love that last point, because it's really easy to look at someone and just see them as them alone. But there are oftentimes, we've all got our own backstory, right? And we've got people behind us. We didn't get to where we are by ourselves. And there's people out there that are encouraging us, that are supporting us, that are relying on us. And so, to be able to see all of that. And really, when I think about, Rahul, when I think about someone, when someone sees you for who you are, that feels good.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that feels good.
Absolutely. Yes, I really like that when your true self is being seen. When people see in your eyes that, hey, this person is not having any wrong effect or wrong intention. This person is going above and beyond to help me. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I love it. The other thing that leaders are often required to do is to build teams.
Absolutely.
And bring people together and to mobilize and to do all of these things to get to get the organization a better place. It's not an easy job, right? I mean, to create a harmonious, inclusive, collaborative environment, it's not always easy. I wonder if perhaps you can talk about some of the challenges that leaders face, or maybe why it is difficult for leaders to build these types of teams.
So in my experience, one of the things I have noticed that it becomes challenging because of the talent. You don't get people with the right skill set. And I have
As in,
come to
like,
an
people
agreement.
in the right roles, you mean? Is that what you mean?
So let's say if you have to make a performing team,
Okay.
it is just not about the skill set. Whereas most of the people, they look for the skills in the people. But what I have come to a conclusion is skill is not about the skill. It is about the attitude. That makes a difference. It is about their ability to learn. It is about their potential to go that extra mile.
Yes.
And when you build a team on these aspects, which is the attitude, the potential, their learnability, it becomes a realer team. Whereas when you are just looking for the technical skills or a specific skills, then yes, you may have a team, but probably we may not be able to make things in one go because everyone will be having a different attitude. So that is one of the challenges that I have found in my early stages as a leader.
Right.
And see, everyone wants to work hard. It's not that people, when they join corporate America, they come with a mindset that, man, I don't want to work, but just get my paycheck. Right? They want to work.
Right.
It is a leader, the environment we provide to them. Are we giving them the right environment? Are we giving them the respect that they deserve? Are we giving them the opportunity to learn for them to do better job? And we make that mistake very often where we don't give these opportunities. We don't give them the respect that they do. We always try to tell, hey man, I have done this before. You know what? Just do this way. Whereas when they are bringing new ideas.
Right.
The second thing which I have noticed is when you have 5 people in your team,
yes,
you as a leader need to adapt 5 different styles to get work accomplished. So as a manager, I may have a style. As a leader, I may have a style. But that one style will not work with all the people because every individual is different. So I need to know the concept of the situational leadership. I need to know the concept of coaching, that this person may not want coaching on direction. This person just need my support as a mentor. Right? So sometimes we leader make that mistake. We follow same approach with all the team members.
Same blanket.
Yeah, and then we wonder that why things are not happening.
Well, and I want to build off that point because there's that requires something very important from the leader or the person in that leadership role, and that means they've got to take the time to understand and know that person. Because if you take that time to understand and know that person, you know what ticks, you know what doesn't work, you know what, like, maybe I'm a visual learner and I learn best visually as opposed to you just telling me, right? And so knowing these things can help further, the mission that much quicker.
Absolutely. Learning style. There are people, who learns by reading or learn by doing. Now, if I don't know that as a leader, I will not be able to do a good job of that person. Another thing which most of the leaders they fail are in my, and that is in my experience, we often do not use this 4 word, which is I need your help. Somehow we feel that as a leader we have to do everything. No. If I am not able to get work done or I am not able to get along with Audley, then I need to find another leader who could help me, who could be a mentor to Audley and probably give me inputs. Somehow we feel that if I go and ask for help, it is seen as my incompetency.
Gotcha.
And what happens is eventually, since the rapport is not being built up, between Audley and his manager, things will not work out, and either they will look out for a new job or they look out for a new team, and eventually it will be a lose-lose. So as leaders, we should be vulnerable enough to go out and ask for help.
Got you. Let our guard down, right? And I mean, and that's why I think it's so important that leaders do their own work internally and know themselves and understand themselves. Because, for example, if I and even your biases, all those things. Because if I know, for example, that in order for me to function a certain way, I've got to do some internal work. But if I don't do that work, then I can't get my job done effectively because I'll have there'll be that constant block in my way.
Absolutely. That is where you're heading, is limiting belief. If I have a limiting belief, I will not be able to get away with it. So I, as a leader, I need to be aware of my limiting belief, and I need to work towards it. So it's very, very important.
I know you talk a lot about positive mindset and mindset shifts. I want to sort of expand on that a bit further, and why that's so significant in the leadership sphere.
So for me, it's all about the mindset, because the right mindset helps you take right thoughts in your mind and allow you to take right action. So I have this concept, which I mentioned in my book, Audley and Habits for Miracles, the concept of circle of happiness.
Okay.
And it is all in our hand. Being happy is in our hand because it is our choice.
Yes.
And if my mindset is right, first of all, how my mindset can be right if I'm injecting positive talks, positive thoughts. So those positive mind talk allows me to have a positive mindset. Positive mindset allows me to have positive thoughts in my mind, eventually leading to positive action, eventually leading to a positive and healthier life. So it's the mindset at which you go, whether you're a sports person. What is your mindset? Maybe you may be playing with the toughest team, but what is your mindset? And I recently watched this Bucks player Antetokounmpo's interview, when an interviewer asked him about a question like, "Hey, do you term this season as a failure?"
I know the way you're talking about.
Right, and he said it so nicely that, hey, in sports there is no failure, man. It's the experience, it's the learning. Yeah. So same thing in life. There is no failure. Failure, I learned from our ex-president in India. He used to say, FAIL is an acronym for first attempt in learning, FAIL.
Oh, I love that one.
First attempt in learning. So we should always be looking at it as a learning, rather than thinking about that, man, I could not do that. Oh, I failed. It's okay, man. We will fail. Yeah. We will fail. If we do not try, then we will not know whether this is for us or not.
That's right. And I think there's so much. So I love the acronym, because I think of the game of baseball, man. They give you 3 strikes for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. No one is expected to hit the first one out of the park, and you might not hit the second, and you may not even get the third one out of the park, right? If you think about it, it's not about hitting it out of the park solely. It's about the process of learning and getting better through those experiences. And you think of the Wright brothers when they were trying to make an airplane, right? I'm sure they had a few versions that didn't work out. Absolutely. But they took from that and they built on that, and so that's what really what we need to shift our focus on. So I think that's a really good example. I'm glad that you raised that. The other thing that failing can do, if we focus on the failing part, it can impact our happiness. I know happiness is something else that you also feel is valuable and important in the leadership context. I wonder if you could talk about the significance of happiness.
So if we are happy, we can make our team member happy.
That's true.
Right? So this is always I tell to my leaders, whenever you have or you had any constructive dialogue with a team member, where you have to let them know that, man, this is not what you're doing is right. And it is a tough dialogue, sensitive dialogue.
Yes.
I always tell them that before they leave office or before they close their business, make sure you connect with them and read their mindset.
Mm.
Because the moment we accept the role of a leader, we become the topic at the dinner table. Whether it is positive or not so positive,
Yeah.
people are talking about us. So you need to decide in which way you want people to talk about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important. And then if our mind or if our day is not going good, no one has given rights to play with anyone's career or anyone else's mindset. And it is our maturity to take a time off if it is required, or reschedule the conversation because we are not at the right mindset.
Right.
So when sometimes I have seen that the leader is not at the right mindset, and that person, takes away the happiness from others. We should be the one who is giving positivity to our team, who is giving happiness to other teams, not taking away their happiness.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very, very important how we, and as I said earlier, happiness is our choice.
Yes.
It's no one else's choice. So we want to make that conscious effort to be happy, specifically when we are with the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have watched a couple of videos from actors, and this is more about the Indian actor. And there was one movie I was watching, and it was a very comedy scene. Later, I learned that the actress, when she was shooting a day before, she lost her father.
Wow.
And in the interview, what she told me or what she told the audience, that whatever has happened in my life. I'm as an actor. People are expecting things. My production house has spent money to travel me to this foreign location or a different location. I cannot play with other people's sentiments.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is that maturity. That is what we as a leader, we need to focus on, that we have a moral responsibility for the people who work with us.
And also recognizing the impact that we have too, right? Like, and the power of leadership and the kind of impact I can have on others. And so the onus is on me to do everything I possibly can to be in that positive mindset, to keep that attitude excited and happy and high, because it will filter down to others.
Absolutely correct.
I love it. I so love it. So you made reference to Habits for Miracles, your book, right? So maybe there's an opportunity to kind of talk about that. So I guess maybe what are there's miracles in the leadership realm? I mean, I know it's not always easy, but are you saying we have to have a miracle to be effective leaders?
Well, so the way I talk about miracle is anything that you think you are not capable of, and you make it happen. I term that as a miracle.
Okay.
Anything which is not in your comfort zone, you do it, it's a miracle. So miracle is not that supernatural power that most of us might think around it. A buzzer beater for a sports person could be a miracle.
Sure.
Someone, for a student getting admission into an Ivy League could be a miracle. Someone fighting a patient with cancer, overcoming that disease is a miracle. So the word miracle means different to different people. And I have used miracles as an acronym to talk about 8 habits that if we inculcate in us, it will allow us to do things that in itself would be a miracle.
Okay.
So that's what I talk about in my book. And it is all about the positive. It's about people who are struggling, who goes into that self-pity mode, that everything bad happening in the world is happening to me. If that is that thought process, this book is for them.
Gotcha.
That will be, it could be a game changer, in my opinion.
So I'm not going to necessarily ask you for all 8 of them, but I'd love to hear a few of these miracles.
So M stands for Mind Talk, Audley. So Mind Talk is you talk to yourself. You talk positive to your own mind, because mind is having an enormous power. It's a superpower. And the good part is our mind is not as intelligent as we think, because our mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imaginary. So if you are able to fake your mind by feeding the positivity in your mind, it allows you to keep your body happy. It allows you to keep your stress parameter low, and
Right.
make your anxiety free. So that is one mind talk. The other thing.
Sorry, and I want to jump in. The mind talk for me, I love it only because I really truly believe that the most powerful conversations that we can have are the ones inside of our head. And so if we're beating up ourselves or minimizing our actions or belittling ourselves, and sometimes I'm so stupid, I don't know why. I think those things can have negative impact, whether we realize or not, whether if we mean it or not. I still think that it can have a negative impact. So it's so important that the positive conversations that happen in our heads.
Correct. The other thing, and I'm only talking about the other one because, as you mentioned, I want to talk to only few,
Yeah.
is about listening. And listening in the book, Audley, I'm talking about more from a listening to our own self. Listening to others is fairly a topic which many people talk about.
Sure.
I'm focusing on listening to ourselves, because sometimes the best answers lies within our own self. So we need to take those moments of silence. We need to give that time to our own self, where we can listen to our own self. So that is the L in the word miracle. The other thing I would talk about, the A in miracle, it's about analyzation.
Okay.
It's many, as we were talking earlier, most of the time we ourselves don't know who we are.
Mm.
So we need to spend time in knowing who we are as a person. What are our strengths? Which are the areas that we fall short? And once we know all these things, we can be a better individual. We can be a better coach. We can be a better leader, a better parent, a better student. So these are the three, habits that I talk about: mind talk, listening to self, and analyzation.
Yeah, again, and I think we talked earlier about the analyzation and what we've got to do for ourselves individually. Because if we're not doing that work, we're not going to have that happiness. We talked about happiness a little bit, or get that well-being or joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are all wonderful things that we can pass along to our followers as leaders. And if we bear that in mind, I think we can also understand, what our true impact can really be.
Absolutely.
Man, Rahul, this has been such a delight. Tell our listeners about your book again, and where they can get a copy if they want to check it out.
So my ebook is available on all the major platforms. Audley, my print book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. They can also log into my website, my book website, which is Habits for Miracles, and for is number 4. It's not FOR, so habits for miracles.com, and they can know more about the concept of the book, and they can know the places where they can buy.
Amazing. I think, again, I love the dialogue around, again, the positive mindset. That's so important. I think oftentimes, particularly new leaders, they don't recognize this right away, and they come into a job or they come into a role, and it's about let's jump into it right away and make it about others, but not looking at what they have to do for themselves. So I think if more people took that time, right, took some space and understood what was happening to them and around them and what's happening within themselves, I think their impact could be even far greater.
Absolutely.
Man,
Yep.
man. Rahul, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Again, so much of this podcast, we encourage individuals to live their best audacious lives, and sometimes to do that, you've got to take that first step. And if that step isn't to leadership, right? And again, new leaders, if you're stepping into leadership for the first time, that is a very important step, because it's not only about you, it's about others as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Audley, for a great conversation, and thank you for having me here.
All the best, Rahul. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.